Hey guys, it's Grace with Grace Gets Gastric, and I am here today for another video in my plastic series, and this one is talking about all of the things that I brought with me to Mexico, what I actually ended up using, what I didn't use, and what I wish I would have brought, or what I might suggest some people consider bringing. So this video might be a little bit on the long side just because I do start off with a video clip of showing you everything that I actually packed with me, so you can kind of see what I brought. And then after that, I'm going to come back and talk about everything that I actually ended up using and all of that stuff. So I figured it would be helpful to have this in one video just so that it's all in one place about you're not just seeing what I packed and then not hearing about what was actually beneficial for me. So if that sounds like something that you are interested in watching, go ahead and stick around. All right, so I'm going to try to do this as best I can. As you can see, I've got everything laid out upon my bed, so I'm just gonna go through and talk about everything that I am bringing. So I'm gonna grab this. This first thing is a back scratcher. So I'm bringing a back scratcher. I'm gonna use this to point. So this right here is a case for my tripod, and it has like a little ring light thing, so just bring that with me so that I can vlog, mostly because I don't know that I'm gonna be able to hold my camera up for long periods of time, and I don't want to have to rely on trying to prop my camera up. So I brought this so that I can bring it with me. This right here, this little pile is stuff that's going to be going in my carry-on, which is right here. But this is my phone charger, and then also a wireless charger, so in case I need to charge, usually on the plane. I have a set of pajamas right here, and then I have a zip-up hoodie, because I get cold on the plane, and I'll also be using those things. Back there, you see that is my carry-on. It has not been filled yet. That dotted case is going to be my laptop. I am bringing my laptop with me, and then on top of that is my Kindle. Coming back down here, we have, this is my silk kimono, and below it we have a maxi dress. So I figure both of those are things that the kimono I can wear kind of around the hotel. The maxi dress can be something if I feel like I need to put some sort of garment on to go down to the lobby, for example, or maybe even when I'm traveling back home. Behind that, we have this. This is a little grabber tool so that I can pick things up without having to bend over. Down here, we have a couple of sleeveless tank tops. They're colorful, but they were just cheap ones from Walmart. This is like a set of washcloths that my mom got me years ago. I had under the sink, and they wanted to bring washcloths, so I got those. This is a set of slip-on slippers. This is a front zip sports bra. I don't know if I'm going to need that or not, but they did say to bring one, so I've got it. And then I have a pair of underwear. I'll probably bring like one or two other pairs. Everyone has said that you just don't wear any, but I'll bring a few just in case, and then I can always wash them if I need to. This is sparkly thing is just a little bit of makeup. I do not even know. I doubt I'll use any of it, but I've said before, makeup is something that I find fun and therapeutic, so I'm going to bring some just in case. Behind this right here, this is a umbrella. Obviously, again, I doubt I'll use it, but I'd rather have it with me and not use it than get soaking wet. This right here is a little miniature food scale. So I am going to, try to track as best as possible, so I'll have that with me. Here we have a set of maxi pads, super absorbent, no wings. I will probably not bring all of them with me, but I'll bring a good amount. They said that they're useful. Next to that, we have some surgical sponges. Back here is the purse that I'm going to be taking with me. I wanted to bring something very light. So that is packed with, your general purse goods, my wallet, my sunglasses, keys, passport, etc. Then we have some Kotex panty liners. Again, was told that those would be helpful. This right here is my female urinal device. I've used it a few times to practice. It's pretty easy, but they tell you to practice with it, and I get that, but I've also heard that your urine stream is different when you have a tummy tuck because your mons is being lifted. So I don't know how good my practice will have been because it's going to be different. But anyways, got that. Pair of scissors, some lotion, some arnica gel. This is supposed to be good for bruising and swelling, and they'll like massage you with it. This is my Toiletries bag, so all of your general face, skin, body care stuff. Here, these things are compression socks. I have 4 pairs of compression socks that I'm taking with me. A pair of Birks, because I just want something that I can slide into. Down here, we have a couple of pairs of pants. So these are the ones I got at Costco, some sweatpants, and then a pair of like really loose leggings. Here we have my food packs. So you can see there are a couple of them. This is all of my protein bars. These are my protein powders, and a couple of savory snacks, another savory snack, and these are all of my water enhancers. I also have a frother in here. I am definitely bringing more than I need. I know this. I know that I'm overpacking, but I would just rather overpack than underpack because I have no idea what to expect. So I really want to make sure I'm getting adequate protein. And while meals are essentially catered, you don't really get to pick what is being brought, and I'm really picky. So on the off chance I don't like something or I can't eat everything, I want to make sure I have other options. I can always bring this shit back with me. Right here is another phone charger. I'm bringing 2 just in case with a 6-foot long cable. And right here is a pack of lanyards, which are supposed to be good for helping you manage your drains, your little alien babies. I've got some antihistamine because that is supposed to help with itching. I have a couple of Tupperware containers because there is a breakfast buffet every morning. And so this is going to be good to take some things back with you if there's anything that you really like. I am bringing a candle because I'm extra like that. Some bromelain. This is supposed to be good for after surgery, etc., swelling and all that. Some melatonin to help me sleep. These are thank you cards that I'm bringing, and I'm going to leave those with tips at the end for everyone. This is my Life Straw water bottle. So I'm bringing a regular shaker. I think I'm bringing at least 1 other shaker bottle, maybe 2 shaker bottles. And then I'm bringing this Life Straw so that if I need to drink water from any source that I can. And then next to that, I have some bendy straws. I've heard that those are really good, particularly if you have, if you're getting a arm lift, and I may be getting one. I may not. TBD on all of that. So I'm also going to be bringing a Fire Stick, but my stepmom is bringing that because she has one and I just have a smart TV. And then she is also bringing a surge protector extension cord thing. And I think that is pretty much it. Oh, she's also bringing an ice pack, like the kind that you can fill up yourself with ice. So if like a refillable one, because there's not a freezer in the room, but you can get ice. So yeah, that is pretty much everything. You can see behind, there's my suitcase, and I will let you know how everything goes and what I end up actually using on my trip. All right, so you just saw all of the things that I brought with me to Mexico, and now I am back. So you can see here I have my little station of all the things I've been using since I got back home, and it is currently a few days since I got back. I'm well enough to do my makeup full on, which is nice. I've been playing with some new things, but that's not why we're here. We're here to talk about everything that I actually ended up using. So I'm gonna just kind of go through the list of what I used, and I wanted to do that just because I have some notes on it. So bear with me. I tried to make it somewhat organized. So things that I brought that I actually used. I did use the slippers. Those came in super clutch. I wore them almost exclusively. I made sure to get some that were not only slip-on, but hard sole so that I could walk around in them, and they were really useful. I technically used the underwear and the regular socks, but literally just for that first night in the hospital. Because I get cold, I did put on regular socks, and I put on some underwear just because it felt weird sleeping in that open gown. But that was the only time I used any kind of underwear or socks, so I ended up bringing a little extra than I needed. I used 1 pair each. Those tank tops that you saw, I did end up using just 1 of them, and I used that on occasion when I would go downstairs for breakfast. Use that with, some sweat, open sweatshirt. I probably could have gotten away with not having them at all, but it was nice to have just in case. Oh, I used it a couple of times. This is just the same one. I didn't bother because it wasn't getting dirty, but like I wore it when I went to my post-op appointment to meet with the doctors. Sweatpants, I did use both pairs of like the loose sweatpants that I brought. I would definitely say that was good. 2 pairs minimum I would recommend. You could bring a few more if you wanted, just in case they both get dirty. But I feel like 2 pairs so that if one gets dirty, you can either send the other one out for wash or just hand wash it. But those were the main things that I wore because they were loose and so they fit over my drain area. Compression is not necessarily where you want to go there just because it was a little uncomfortable. And I get so cold, and they do want you to keep the temperature in the hotel room on the lower side just to make sure that just medically that's better. So I was cold, so the warm sweatpants helped out a lot. And then a zip up hoodie. I brought one with a that has a hood and it was a zip up. I would probably bring 2 next time, and I would try to bring at least one, if not both, without the hoodie. Because I would sleep in them again because it would get cold, and then it would kind of bunch up under my neck or on my back and be uncomfortable. So then I'd have to flip it up and like sleep with my hoodie on, which is kind of weird. So I would definitely say at least one warm one. I would next time I would bring 2, and I would try to bring at least one that didn't have a hood. Compression leggings. So I did bring a pair of compression leggings. It is actually what I wore on the plane ride over. And then I ended up wearing them again on the plane ride out, just because I wanted to give my legs an extra little bit of compression because, you know, you want to try to avoid clotting and compression can help with that. And, yeah, so I found I really only wore them there and back. I'm glad that I had them. But I only needed 1 pair. And then that the same goes with like what I wore in terms of my flight there is what I wore back. So it was a kind of crop hoodie, tankini, or a spaghetti strapped tank top, and then the compression leggings. I did wear my kimono a couple of times around the hotel room. Compression socks, I brought 4 pairs. I used all 4. I would suggest bringing at least 2 pairs. If you don't bring them, they have their own, but I didn't like those. I much preferred mine. I brought 2 different kinds just in case, like different sizing. You will swell up a little bit, but I mean, for me at least, my legs were no different. Like the compression socks that fit me before surgery fit me fine after surgery, even with swelling. And mine were just really a lot more comfortable. So I liked the ones I brought. Again, I would say bring at least 2. I brought 4. I've been using them pretty much nonstop, just rotating through. Makeup, I showed you that I did bring a little bit of makeup, and I actually ended up using it twice, which was the last 2 days I was there. Once for when I went to my appointment because, you know, I wanted to look semi-human to meet with the surgeons. And then I did wear it on the way home, the flight home. Otherwise, I didn't touch it, but I would, you know, I'd recommend bringing just kind of like a full face of like the basics, just in case you want to like look a little, you know, human. You could bring more if you want. Some of the girls there, you know, a few times would kind of glam up a bit. Just again, if you're bored, something to do, it's fun. So I'm glad I brought it. But if you're not a makeup person at all, you know, it's not necessary. Glasses and contacts. I did use both. I am a contacts wearer. So as soon as I got back to the hotel, got to the hotel after surgery, I wore my contacts, but I was wearing my glasses the night before surgery and then the whole day after surgery. They did take my glasses obviously before surgery, and then sadly I was not allowed to have them in the recovery room, so I got them back when I went to my hospital room. But if you are a contacts wearer, you can wear them, just not until, you know, well after the surgery, so make sure you do bring a spare pair of glasses. Straws, I did use some of the bendy straws, mostly like because you spend some time kind of lying down and it's hard at first to get up. It was helpful to have those straws for the first few days. And then I would say if you're getting your arms done, I definitely would recommend bringing some of those bendy straws, just because it is difficult to, you know, hold something like this and bring it up because you're moving your arm too high. So straws were helpful. I also brought water enhancers, protein bars, protein shakes, savory snacks. I'm glad I brought all of that. I was having basically a protein bar and a protein shake every single day. particularly in the beginning, I just was not that hungry. And so that was helping me get my protein in. Protein bars were a great sweet dessert at the end of the night. That's when I would have my protein bar. Because you do have, when I was there, I had lunch and dinner provided for me, but that was it. So that was kind of like a good, healthier option for a sweet treat at the end of the night. And then I would usually have a protein shake as my afternoon snack. So I'm really glad I brought that. I ate my savory snacks a couple of times, and I was alternating water enhancers with regular water, but the water enhancers have always helped me get in more water. It's not something I've struggled with, but I'm glad that I brought them. I used all of that stuff. Not everyone will, but I found it to be helpful. To that end, I also brought 2 shaker bottles. One that is this bigger one, and then I have a smaller 16-ounce one, my original shaker bottle, and I used both of those. I used this bigger one exclusively for water, and then I used the smaller one exclusively for shakes. So that I would go downstairs to the breakfast every morning and get 8 ounces of the 2% milk in the breakfast bar, and then I would bring it upstairs, put it in the fridge, and then add my shake to it with the shaker ball, my protein powder. So I'm really glad that I brought 2, just because I didn't have to worry about. My stepmom was washing them for me, but still being able to kind of just keep the protein powder and milk separate from my water drink, because I was getting milk every morning and putting it in the fridge, and then I wouldn't have been able to use that for water. So I'm really glad I brought 2, and then yeah, so that I could do that. I also brought my food scale. I did use that a few times to just sort of measure out the meat that Mama Galvez had made, so I knew what I was eating, because I was tracking and doing my best to track as much as I could. Tupperware, I brought 2 things of Tupperware containers. I probably only really needed 1, but I did use them. And I would say 2 was good. I'm glad that I brought 2. Sometimes you can bring this. I would grab some fruit sometimes from the breakfast bar and bring it upstairs. And then there were a couple of times where the food was too much that Mama Galvez had provided for one meal, or I had, I wasn't hungry, and then I would just put it in the Tupperware and put it in the fridge so that I could eat it later. So I am glad that I had those. I also brought all of my vitamins, as well as you saw some melatonin and some bromelain, which I used all of that. I used melatonin every night before bed, to help me, just to give me that extra boost of sleeping. And then vitamins, I started taking my vitamins the 2nd day post-op. I think I could have done it sooner, but they were just packed away. So basically once I got to the hotel that first day, and I had the bromelain in there. So used all of that. I probably would not have necessarily brought the bromelain with me. I just would have put those pills individually in my little vitamin packets and then have been done with it. But the melatonin I brought because I just wasn't sure how often I would want to use it. Also brought my laptop, my Kindle, and headphones. All of those were super useful. I brought 2 pairs of headphones, one to plug in for my laptop and one that's Bluetooth for my phone. Used both of them, used my Kindle, used my laptop, brought various chargers. So I brought obviously chargers for all of that. I brought a Fitbit charger, which I did use as well. I charged my Fitbit at least, I think, 1 time when I was there. And then I brought a long phone charger, and that was definitely very key. So I make sure it's at least 6 feet, I would say. Used it both at the hospital and the hotel. Also used the Fire Stick to plug into the TV so we could watch Netflix. I used, I didn't mention this, but this is something my stepmom brought, which is a basically multi-USB charger. So it is one of those things that you can plug in, and then it has multiple USB ports. And we found that was really helpful for us, just because we had multiple things with USB chargers. So that was useful. What else? The tripod, which I'm using to film right now, I did end up using that to film. And I'm sure I would use it even more with my arms being done, because holding is so much more difficult. So I really appreciated having the tripod. I used only a couple of times, but I did use that little picker-upper grabber tool to pick things up off the floor for the first few days until I was able to easily squat down and get them. And then I had also used it if there was anything that was high up, because I can reach to a certain extent, but this is about as far up as I go. So if it's like high, that's helpful for that as well. Scissors, we only used those a couple of times because for the most part the nurses had their own scissors, but there were a few times we did use them. The maxi pads, did definitely use those. I would say I used about, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. I would say at least 4 a day, 4 to 5 a day. So those were definitely helpful for protecting the incisions. So sometimes so it doesn't rub against the faja. And then also around the drain sites to collect any like fluid seepage. So those were definitely useful and necessary. And then I did use a lanyard and the carabiner clip. So, you know, a lanyard and these clips. I would say I used just the one. I got this in a 2-pack. So I just usually use the one carabiner and 1 or 2 of the lanyards. I would definitely bring at least 2 lanyards just in case one of them breaks. These were super cheap. So it's like if it breaks, I've got a few extras. But really you kind of only need 1 because you use this when you're showering to hold the drains. You attach the drains to this and it goes around your neck like so. I think I'll put a picture in. But for the most part you have this little fanny pack type thing that they give you. I also did use my arnica gel, as you can see right here. Every time I got the lymphatic massage, when she was finished, she would put the arnica gel on my back and stomach, so I did use that. And then the thank you cards. I definitely used those thank you cards. I did not bring enough. I think I brought like 6 and I ended up using 12 or 13. So I would bring more. I mean, how many you need to use is totally up to you, but I did think that I did end up using 12 or 13, so I would for sure, for me, bring more next time. And you know, if you have extras, you can always leave them there. There's usually like what they call the stash, where someone has the stash in their room where they kind of keep things that people have left behind that might be useful. Or, you know, thank you cards don't take up much space. You can take them home. So that was all the things that I brought that I did use, I believe. Hopefully I didn't forget anything. Now let's talk about the things that I did not use. And some of them I didn't use, but I would still recommend. So we'll talk about that. The first one is the female urinal device. I did not need to use this at all. I would still recommend it. I mean, it's relatively inexpensive. And, you know, if you're a camper, you know, it's not the end of the world if you don't use it this time. I think there were definitely girls there that did use theirs pretty frequently, almost exclusively. I think if you've had muscle repair or if you've had your arms done, maybe even if you've had your thighs done, I think depending on your pain level and your ability to get up and down, that would be helpful. I would say in the beginning, the first few days, I wasn't able to just like take myself up, you know, get up from a sitting position by myself. I needed to brace myself with my arm and push with my arm. And if I had not had the use of my arms, sitting down might have been a little bit difficult. And I think I would have wanted to use that device. So something to keep in mind. Extension cord, we ended up not needing to use it just because everything that we had brought had long enough cords for what we needed, but I would still probably recommend it just in case. Again, you know, you can keep them relatively, they're relatively small, and I think we lucked out that we didn't need it, but there are not a ton of plugins in the hotel, so you may end up needing to use it. So the next item is a back scratcher, which I would still recommend bringing if you have one. For me, I didn't use it just because my itching didn't really start until I returned home. So I didn't really require it while I was still there, but for some people the itching did start earlier, and it's nice to be able to use the back scratcher. Obviously you want to make sure you're staying away from your incisions at all, but it is helpful, I would say, to have just in case. And especially if you're by yourself and you don't have someone who can like scratch and itch for you. The bra. So I showed you a front zip bra. I would recommend bringing this only if you're not having breast work done. If you're having any kind of breast work done, they will provide you a bra, and that is what you will be using exclusively. But if you end up not getting it done, you'd want to have a bra so that you have something to wear, and that one would work well underneath the faja. And so I would say even if you are planning to get breast work done, so I'd say regardless, you should bring it, because there's always a chance that something will happen, your hemoglobin will be too low, and you won't end up getting all of your procedures, and you might end up deciding to nix the breasts. So that was, in my case, I was able to get everything I wanted, well, everything that I was coded for. But if I had not been able to get everything, my breast would have been the first thing that I would cancel. And so it's good to have the bra just in case, but I did not end up using it. Okay, next thing is the Life Straw water filtration water bottle. I didn't end up using it. I'm glad that I had it just in case. Again, another one of those, just in case there was some reason I needed to have some water that wasn't filtered, I'd have that. We did end up just buying a bunch of bottled water and going through that, which I don't love doing, but it was just easier. So that's what we ended up doing. So I didn't need it, but it was good to have. I didn't end up using my little frother thing at all. I found that the shaker bottle was more than enough to blend my protein powders. Didn't use the candle. Honestly, wasn't really sure that I would at all. It was kind of a silly thing to bring, which I knew, but I didn't use it. Surprisingly, did not use my Burkenstocks at all. Those slip-on sandals. Again, glad I brought them just in case, but I basically just wore my slip-on slippers the entire time, wore them down to breakfast, all of that good stuff. And when I wore a pair of, I think Allbirds, pair of basically tennis shoes type thing. I wore those on the plane over, and then I wore them on the plane back. And when I went to my post-op appointment, I wore those as well. So didn't end up needing the Burks, but again, they didn't take up a lot of space, and your mileage may vary. So I didn't end up using the maxi dress that I brought at all. It was kind of, honestly, a little bit too nice and a little too long. I might have next time brought like a shorter dress or something to wear down to breakfast, but honestly for me, I preferred to be in sweats and a shirt, maybe if it had been summer, but you know, you're staying in the hotel the whole time and it's pretty cold because they want to keep the temperatures low. So a maxi dress for me even would have been too cold for me. So I just kind of stuck with my sweats. Didn't use my umbrella at all. Honestly, I didn't really expect to. That was just a just in case item. So I didn't use that. Didn't use any of the panty liners. I'm not totally sure if I'm going to use them for anything. People said sometimes it's good to use them over your incision lines, but I found that the maxi pads and the additional comfort of those was better. So not using those. Maybe I'll end up using them once my tape comes off of my incisions, but for now I didn't use them for anything. Washcloths, didn't end up using those. There were washcloths in the hotel to use, so wasn't necessary. Didn't really use my baby wipes at all. Didn't feel like I need them for anything. Still don't really feel like I needed them for anything, so that wasn't a use. I didn't end up using my lotion. They obviously really want you to make sure that you're not using anything near your incisions, just to keep things nice and dry. And then pretty much everywhere else was covered with compression, socks, or garments, etc. So I didn't really use that. Even though my skin is quite dry, I'm not really moisturizing at all because I don't want to risk any moisture gathering near the incisions. Didn't use my Benadryl at all. So there's Benadryl is there for the itching. Partially because my itching didn't really start until I got home, and partially because they don't want you taking it while you're taking any of the medications that you are going to be on for your duration, for the duration of your stay there, unless you're staying past when they recommend. Benadryl can interfere with the other medications, so you wouldn't really be able to take it till you got home anyways. The surgical sponges, I didn't end up using it all while I was there. They had their own kind of gauze and sponges to use to clean things, so I didn't really need those. And then the ice pack that my stepmom brought. I didn't end up using ice anywhere. They want you to be very careful again about using any kind of... Actually, you know what? No, that's not true. I did end up using the ice pack because I had a headache. I didn't, and that was just purely because of a non-surgery related headache. So I did use the ice pack for that, but in terms of the actual surgery, I didn't use it at all. Because they'll let you know if you were to be able to use it. Some people used it for lipo. I just didn't feel the necessity. So I think that's all of the rest of the items. I think I've covered everything that I brought, talked about what I used, what I didn't use. And then this last final little section is going to be a couple of things that I did not bring that I wish I would have brought, or that it might be worth you considering bringing depending on your own needs. So the first thing is one of those sleeping eye masks, those light blocking sleeping masks. I think that this would have been helpful, particularly at the hotel, just because sometimes, you know, if you have a companion, the lights, you know, my companion had the lights on for longer. I wanted to take various naps, and it was hard sometimes to do so with the light. So I just wish I would have had that so that I could block out the light more easily. And then similarly, and then also while I was in the hospital as well, because they would leave the lights on in the hospital room. So I wish, you know, that would be nice to just block that light. And then similarly, I would have brought some earplugs. So I think I mentioned this in previous videos, but depending on what room you have at the hotel, it can get quite loud outside. And especially the first few nights when I was struggling trying to get some sleep, I think the earplugs would have been helpful. Also, just if you have a companion who, like me, my stepmom snores, so most of the time it's not an issue for me, but when I was struggling to fall asleep, the snoring was getting a little distracting. So I wish I would have brought some earplugs. Another thing is hand sanitizer. We did end up having them. This is one of the first things we asked them to buy for us is hand sanitizer, just to have for hands, particularly after using the restroom. When I was at the beginning finding it difficult to stand even long enough to the motions of washing my hands into the sink, it was really difficult. And so having that hand sanitizer to make sure, you know, my hands were being sanitized afterwards was really helpful, and I'm still using it here. Another thing I would recommend bringing is, like, they will shower you and they will use your own soap, shampoo, conditioner. So I brought a couple of like sample packets, but I wish I would have brought more, just so that I was generally having them wash my hair about every other day, which is more often than I wash it at home. But I wish I would have had more of my own shampoo and conditioner, just to have my hair at its best, because my hair does not love the hotel provided shampoos and conditioners. And then same thing, I would have brought my own soap and a loofah, like one of those little loofah things for them to wash me with. They were using the washcloths, which were fine, but I probably would have brought my own loofah and soap. And then the next few things are, and then I also would have brought some kind of tailbone pillow, either one of those boppies, the like circular pillows, or you know, a cushion meant for tailbone pain. That was one of the more uncomfortable things, was trying to get my tailbone in a comfortable place with all of the sitting and lying down that I was doing. And the next few items were not necessarily items that I felt I needed, but that you might want to consider bringing for yourself. Lipo foam. Some people really found that to be beneficial on their incisions, and if you're getting lipo, you might look into bringing that for yourself. Sensitive tape. So if you have skin that's really sensitive to tapes, and a lot of us bariatric patients do, because there's something about the bariatric surgery that tends to lead to some issues with skin and tape. And I actually did have at one point a little bit of my skin like pulled off because of the tape, which was not fun. So bringing your own sensitive tape for them to use when they are taping up the areas around the drain sites and your belly button might be a good thing to bring. And then finally, if you are someone who may be slightly prone to like yeast infections, some kind of yeast prevention something or other. Sorry, I didn't look into this a lot because I am not prone to them and I did not have any issues with it. And so I don't know exactly what people take to prevent yeast infections. But in talking to a lot of people, it is not uncommon if you are, you know, slightly prone to them, to develop one after surgery. I don't know what it is about the surgery. I don't know if it's just like because the drain sites are like right there. But I do know a number of women who have had issues with yeast infections post-op. So that might be something to bring just to kind of stave that off if you're someone who is prone to them. But I think that is everything. I hope this video was helpful. Wanted to kind of be, as always, as comprehensive as possible, talking about the stuff that I brought and used. I am going to do another video in a few weeks talking about everything that was helpful to me at home post-op with my post-op care. So there will be some slight overlap, but wanted to talk in a separate video about all the things that I've been using at home since it is slightly different. but I want to wait to make that video and once I am a little bit more healed so that I have a better idea of all the things that I used. Anyways, let me know down below if you thought this was helpful. If you have any questions, don't forget to watch my whole plastic series because I do answer a lot of questions in there. Let me know if there was anything that you brought on your surgical journey that you found helpful that I didn't list here, or yeah, any and all of that good stuff. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for all of the love and support. I appreciate you all so much. I'm so happy that you're here with me, and I will talk to you all very soon. Bye.